very much, Chair Moderator of tonight's event. And thank you for recognizing the presence of the leadership of the Royal African Society that are here, and colleagues, your colleagues that are not here. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to interact with these colleagues that are here, who we appreciate that you have been able to find time during or within, amidst your busy schedules. So thank you so much. I know you have a lot of things to do in your homes, in your businesses. I guess today is the Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah.
And some of you, yeah, it's a Thursday, isn't it? Some of you haven't been able to go home after work and you come here straight. So thank you very much. Let me start by first and foremost thanking the people of Zambia, and many of you here who were able to come home to vote, and those who were not able to come home to vote, for influencing the voters. In fact, some of you voted more than twice, maybe. What do I mean? Because you were able to mobilize a lot of voters on the ground through your influence, your opinion leadership, and indeed the value that you provide to your families back home, that they were able to take your views, not all of you, but many of you, because that's your democratic right anyway, that they took a decision to vote for us on the 12th of August 2021. So officially, because it's my official engagement here, is to thank the voters of Zambia, the people of Zambia, for giving us their confidence, giving us their trust, which we will not abuse as we serve them in the years to come, months and years to come. So I think it's also fair to say things are possible if you're a believer, because God has allowed them.
Amen.
Otherwise, it's very difficult, given the environment that was obtaining home, lack of democratic space. Basically, we were not able to reach out to as many voters as possible. But it got done. So thank you very much. Now, I would like to share a few highlights of what we intend to do for the people of Zambia over the next 5 years or so. But I want to step aside a bit and remind ourselves of what motivated us to seek public office, but more importantly, what agenda, what objectives did we set ourselves to do as we ran into 2021 elections. We set ourselves 3 focal areas. Number 1, we learned our lessons of the elections you talked about that we participated in. In a way, actually, I think God was punishing us or teaching us a lesson, because I've been running this party, took over from my predecessor, one Mr. Mazoka, may so rest in peace, a fine brain, a fine citizen, and he's gone. He did his part. But circumstantially, no excuse at all. In 15 years I've run this party, we participated in 6 elections. That's not normal, isn't it? Essentially, I should have had 3 elections, but I had the misfortune of facing 2 presidents passing on while in office, and our constitution didn't provide for those situations, so we had to have presidential by-elections. But I think that's God's way. His ways are not our ways, and we must always accept His way. So, but here is what we set out to do towards 2021. We believe we won 2015, 2016 elections. Actually, as a party, we believe we won 2001 elections. those of you who are old in this bunch. So we realized that there was something that we weren't doing well, we weren't doing properly, given that this is Africa elections sometimes the voter doesn't decide who runs the country. Sometimes those who count votes decide. And this discussion for another day. But I like your starting point. Democracy is very important. Democracy must be grown on our continent. We shouldn't allow autocratic leaderships around our continent, because there's a close relationship between freedoms, democracy, rule of law, good governance, respect for human rights, liberties and freedoms, and development, and opportunity for our people, as opposed to systems that are heavy-handed, as we had, that are autocratic, like we had. So we set ourselves 3 focal areas. One, that 2021 elections, we would win, and win by a landslide, so that no one would have the chance to allow the counters to decide who runs the country. So we would win, and win big. Number 2, that will protect our votes at all costs until we are sworn in. Number 3, that once we win the election, we will have a dual objective. 2, dual. 1 is to reunite our country, divided country. It's common knowledge that in the last 10 years, our country was divided. Number 2, that we will focus on economic reconstruction, economic development, and rebuilding our social fabric. 2 things. So let's tick the script. Number 1, objective, we achieved it. We won by a landslide. First time in the history of our country for a sitting government candidate to lose by well over 1 million votes. The difference, so we won. Not long ago, I was making a presentation at U.S. Institute for Peace, and I did, after motivation, I did explain how we approached achieving this objective, but it's not for today. Yeah, but I think other countries on our continent can learn a few things that we picked ourselves. But we're sending signals, and we're doing it very carefully so we don't get into conflict with those that are running those countries. So absolutely. So, yeah. Now, number 2 objective, we achieved it. And the masses of people that voted for us, against all odds, mountain of cash, which the opposition now, then the ruling party had, it was done. We managed to do it, and we used all us, the same people that voted for us, to walk an extra mile to protect their vote. Because in the previous elections, vote protection was lampooned on the leader. But this time we said, no, it's your vote. You protect your vote. It did work. So now that tick is done. We are on the 3rd objective. Now that we've won the elections, we've been sworn in, we're in office today, 2 months, I think 9 days on the button. 2 months, 9 or 10 days on the button. You can work out your numbers. So now we are on the 3rd leg. What are we doing with the country? Now we've been put in office to serve the people of Zambia. So the reunification of our country is an important aspect of our agenda on this 3rd objective. Because in the last 10 years, our country was polarized to a level never seen before. If you look at employment in the public sector, you could almost know who would be appointed as a minister if there was a vacancy. It wouldn't be anyone from 6 provinces in the country. It would be someone from 4 provinces of the country. almost automatic. That applied to permanent secretaries, that applied to ambassadors, by and large, that applied to different functions in the central government. You almost knew who would be, not by physical appearance, but by name pattern, who would be the town clerk, who would be the council secretary. And if there were people removed, retired in national interest, before you heard the name, you knew that these names will come from these regions. That's unacceptable. That was unacceptable, and we intend to correct that situation. We committed to the people of Zambia that to start with, irrespective of the election results, we will be in a position to assemble a cabinet that will bring all the 10 provinces to the cabinet table. The English say, since we're in England, the English say the taste of the pudding is in the eating. So you can, on your own, examine the UPND cabinet. You can only liken it to the 1964 cabinet, where all the 10 provinces are there. We did not get MPs in 2 provinces. We did well, landslide, yes. We won in 7 provinces out of 10, the presidential board. The 8th province was basically almost equal, and that was Eastern Province. We got 49%, my colleague got 50%. So we can say, we were at par on that one. So, but 2 provinces, my colleague won, Luapula and Northern, and we didn't get a member of parliament. But we were able to utilize the legal instruments before us to bring cabinet members from those 2 provinces. That is deliberate. That is orchestrated. Madam Chair, it wasn't by chance. So we were able to nominate members of parliament from those 2 deputies. And so, cabinet is balanced. Next, we're working on permanent secretaries. I know you've raised a lot of complaints. We're working on that. But we also took a decision that the civil service, public service, will focus more on merit, but still be able to bring diversity, inclusion, as opposed to exclusions. It is important, because one who's mandated to run the country must understand and accept the responsibility that they are doing that on behalf of all the 18 million Zambians who may be placed in particular geographies. Some of them not by their own choice, because you don't choose who your mother is, who your father is. You find yourself just, in fact, you just get taught. Yeah? So in Africa, we don't do much DNAs, eh? So colleagues, let me rest that part of reuniting the country, but only after mentioning what you have heard us do in the last week or 2. As part of the independence celebrations, instead of a day of celebrations or remembrance, we are taking it as a series of activities. And we made a decision, I took a decision, sold it to my colleagues, that we will reach out to the spirit, to the freedom fighters, the spirit that they brought on the table to deliver political independence, as we deliver economic and social independence. So I took a trip out to go and pay homage to the late Simon Mansakapwebe, where he's lying in Sisali. I'm sure you followed. That's not by chance. That is orchestrated. Then I followed that with where Harimwanga Nkumbula is lying. So we will continue. Next time it may be Ruben Kamanga, it may be Alumino Mundia, it may be Justin Chimba, it may be whoever else. So that it is an activity we believe is important to rekindle the sense of unity, the spirit of unity, oneness. So that will continue. Let's turn to the economic and social agenda. I'm sure that's what you want to hear most tonight.
Yes, sir.
On that score, Chairperson, we have embarked on the understanding, effecting what we call an understanding that we can only take care of our people. The people who put us in office, by and large, the youth and women. We were brought into office to serve, largely by women. But the larger population, which includes men and women, the youth, the Bali fever was thank you. Was and still is the ticket of change. Change meaning what? Economic reconstruction. For what? For opportunity for our people. It's as simple as that. Citizens took a decision that the government that was in office did not deliver opportunities for them. And this team, this diversified team, this reasonably united team was put in office to attend to creating opportunities for our people in their diversity, jobs, business opportunities, just to have an opportunity to do business. For the young, education, health services, a functioning health service delivery system. You all know what was obtaining home. What is still obtaining, because we have not tackled much in reality, because I'll mention that why that is the case now. To deal with certain issues that inhibited opportunities being available. To utilize the national resources available to us. Resources are scarce, we all know that. That's a basic economics course, undergraduate. Resources are scarce, how you utilize them matters. And during the campaign, Madam Chairperson, I used to say, the country, people are not poor because the country is not rich. God loved our country, gave us everything, everything. I'm not too sure why he chose to give us so much water, so much minerals, so many minerals, so much fertile soils and grass. Because I'm a rancher. When I see grass, I see water, I say there's only one thing missing. Two things are there for me to produce T-bone steak. The water and the grass, the only thing is the management. That's it. That sector is taken care of. Management, which includes so many things, genetic issues, and obviously disease control, all of that. It's all management. So the people are poor because there's been no leadership to utilize these resources to benefit the people. That is the core. Now, with that understood, it is clear that we should be able to manage our country and improve the livelihoods of our people by working the resources God gave us. And working them, given that the cash side is limited, in an efficient, effective way. Then we can change the economy. If we don't change the economy, we stand no chance in hell to better the lives of our people. I can be rude sometimes, but positively so. We Africans like to say we are good-hearted, isn't it? We like to say that, isn't it? We are communist people. We come from extended families, isn't it? And we like to help each other. But the truth remains that we cannot help each other if we don't create value. We cannot share poverty. That's the truth. So your party is focused on creating value so we can share, we can redistribute. That's lauded, isn't it?
Yes.
That's lauded. But we intend to do just that. When you see us here at the UN General Assembly, now here at COP26, we have a clear agenda that took us to the States, that brought us here. Opportunities for our people, resources, investment, so we can create the jobs that we committed to do, so that we can grow the economy and generate revenues that will allow us to support health service delivery, that will allow us to support education, as it were. That's what is taking us around. But we are also conscious that unless we do certain things, we cannot take the economy anywhere. What are these things? We have, number one, to create, and we are doing that, an attractive business operating environment. We'll do that consulting, stakeholders, getting your views, getting views of investors. And when we say investors, please, we have a different approach to it. The first investor we care much about is a Zambian investor. Those that have been with the country under extreme difficulties. We want to make sure that now we can open the lead for them to consolidate their businesses, micro, small, medium enterprises. They are the basis upon which the next level of investors will come. And we are clear on which ones, in that order. Domestic investors, next is regional investors. Within our region, within our continent. Then we are talking about Europe, we're talking about America, we're talking about UK, we're talking about China. In that order. So we are very clear. But sometimes it's not a segmented array of investors like that. It's a combination. In one business, you may find these three levels. One business. And we'd like to encourage that going forward. Now, the environment has not been good to promote investment. We're working on that. And once, through consultations, through views, we have benchmarked. Let me take one sector. The mining sector, although we want to diversify, remains still a critical sector to helping us drive the economy forward. In the last 20 years, there's been no stability in this sector. I'm talking about laws, regulations. I'm talking about taxes. Just to pick three levels, three items. In the last 20 years, the mining environment has been altered, has been tweaked 21 times in 20 years. Mining is a long-term investment. How the hell would an investor make a decision when you're changing the environment like that? Very difficult. Let me move very quickly. So we're working on that as a new government. Benchmarking. Competing with the best in terms of laws, regulations, tax regime. Some of you know something called VAT rule number 18. Damaging tax. To this level, the country owes taxpayers around this tax law called VAT rule 18 almost $1 billion. Because we've not been able to refund this amount of money. But the structure, the decision, the structure, the conceptualization of this was that we will refund it once businesses fulfill their obligations. And now we're having to unravel this issue and find solutions to it. You will not see this government doing things like that. Once we've agreed on the right environment in this sector, we will hold that environment stable, predictable. And we have no doubt that will attract more investments. I've already defined the investment, domestic. Madam Chair, we want to bring more Zambians in the mining sector. We want to bring more Zambians in the mining sector. Not just as workers, but as risk takers. Equity level, board level, management level, suppliers, contractors. It's deliberate because we want to increase transactions in the economy in this sector, and growth will come from there. Back to what we committed to the people of Zambia. Jobs, business opportunities will come from there. I've illustratively given one sector, Madam Chair, so you can see the paradigm shift, the way we are approaching the economy and particular sectors. We are clear that we did that to the mining sector, we'll be able to take advantage of this curve in metal prices, upward curve. Even marginal mines, which may not have been profitable before, I think now will be in the black. But there's still many things we have to do around making sectors attractive and viable. Please, let's take out this notion of thinking that investors are always foreign and investors are bad people. I've already told you that. You can't share poverty. You have to have investment to create jobs. And you who live in this city, in this country, must know that better. So, if we do that in the mining sector, then we do that in agriculture, we do that in tourism, we do that in financial services, we do that in many other sectors, we will be able to drive this economy and bottom it up. Remember, the colleagues found an economy growing at 6+% GDP per annum. I don't know how they did it. They managed to wipe out that growth to minus where we see. I don't know how they did it. I'm being polite to you. Now, sitting where I sit, I know why. But I knew, but I didn't realize that they were worse than what we all thought. Leave your relationship aside. You could have been a friend, a relative of a minister. Leave that aside. Be a nationalist for once. Right? I too had relatives in the PF government, but I disagreed with them. In national interest. I watch your platforms, I used to follow your debates within this country. Pro-PF, pro-UPND, you used to fight a lot. It was not necessary. It was not necessary. Failure was evident. It was not necessary. So anyway, let me wrap it up in that, just this component, to say our intent is clear, to make every sector contribute positively to the economic revival. Because therein lies the answer to the change ticket that brought us into office. And we are determined, Chairperson, to do that. We are determined to friction even with relatives and friends along the way. So, if we got that right, we believe we will. If we got that right, there are other things we need to do in order to make just this tripart work. What else do we need to do? We have decided to restore the rule of law. as an accompanying measure to our agenda. You can't do business. You can't have normal community life the way we lived in our country. There's a total breakdown in the rule of law. There was hooliganism everywhere. There was thuggery in markets where a widow depends on selling 20 boxes of tomato in Soweto. She wasn't able to trade. Party thugs armed took away her tomatoes and gave her a false price. She went home without anything. The little capital she had was taken away by thugs. Immediately we were declared winners. 14th or 15th of August. 14th. Following day we sent a message that there will be order in our country. No thug will be around to harass anybody. We did not use a gun. We did not tear gas anybody. As you know, I'm a victim of tear gas, right? Just the word. The markets were free. Bus stops were free. It is essential. You can't reconstruct the economy where there's no order. Where if you own a plot as a citizen back home in Lusaka, you see to your title deed, thugs may have already shared your plot. Exactly. If you can feel that way, what about a non-Zambian who wishes to invest in our country? Will they come? No. The judicial systems must function. Justice must be delivered fair. We're committed to doing that. What else? Human rights. The flip side of the law and order is to respect human rights, liberties and freedoms. It's a civilized society. A democratic society must be able to deliver that as a bare minimum. I'm sure you've heard my pronouncements, our pronouncements, that I do not wish those who put me into jail 15 times to go to jail and put in jail by me or us. Because if we did that, we will be no different from them. Yeah. I know many of you are unhappy about that. That's the way it should be. I understand you are unhappy, but that's the way it should be. Because this thing must come to an end. I'm not saying criminals will not go to jail. Don't misunderstand. It is necessary in an environment you want to grow the economy in for every citizen to feel that they are free to conduct their daily business without persecution, without retribution. There's no one better placed than me as a servant of yours to change the course of that part of our lives, because I've suffered the most discriminated, most arrested. People around me have been shot at, killed. I think I'm qualified to end this thing. But it does not mean that if you stole from the people of Zambia, you'll get away with it. No. Your resources, our resources have been taken away consciously. I'll give you an example. We've taken a decision that procurement of goods and services and works in our country will be done on 3 principles after peeping through and seeing what has been going on in the last 10 years. Chairperson, let me contextualize this a little bit. This is very important. Very, very important. Now, look, money in our country, resources were bleeding in just a few areas. 4 areas. 1, procurement of fertilizer, where 4 things were happening. 1, we were buying fertilizer at a higher cost. When the commodity was selling at $450 per ton, we were buying it at $1,200 per ton. What economy can you run? So high cost. Number 2, under delivery. Number 3, late delivery. Number 4, poor quality fertilizer sold as first grade. Number 5, underweight. We picked these issues. It will not happen under this leadership. It will not happen. Pure procurement, overpaying all the time. Pure. 3, roads. 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 I will touch about the issue of debt, Madam Chairperson. One of the things we're going to dismantle is the debt mountain. It's choking our resources for development. What do I mean? Our national budget, Zambians waited for a budget to be announced year in, year out, and were hopeful, but they were being cheated. There was nothing for them because the budget revenue side was taken out on the expenditure side by 2 items, debt service and public sector pay. That's it. 85% plus of your budget every year. 10 years you were waiting. You were waiting for nothing. There was no money for you. It was gone before the budget was designed. It was going to these 2 items. But the debt was accrued to finance the corruption in fuel procurement, in road construction, in fuel. I said fertilizer, fuel, road, and 4th, general procurement. Where, Madam Chairperson, a pen like that cost in Cairo Road 2 kwacha. Once it was moved a kilometer to government house there, just a kilometer, it cost 20 kwacha. I'm not joking. We're reining in on expenditure, on extravagance. I used to say during the campaign, under the government that we've taken out, you could never have a chance in health to develop this country. Why? The bucket was leaking. You can pour as much water as you wanted. The bucket was leaking. So, follow what I'm saying. We are sealing the bucket. We are sealing the bucket. So that when we put water there, the bucket will be full. Those are important economic parameters. So, let me return to the subject. I needed to explain this, Chairperson, so you understand why we have applied 3 principles going forward under this government. Anything going forward that this government will buy, central, local government, quasi-government, parastatal, name it, will be based on 3 factors only. 1, we are going to pay only the right price. Only. How would we know? We'll benchmark that. See? Number 2, quality. We were building roads at $1 million per kilometer when we can build a road at $350 per kilometer. But these roads were of poor quality. They are building in front, in the back is sweeping. It will not happen going forward. We need your support in these areas. Number 3, deliver on time. Where I live, there were party cadres given to do roads, drainage. They were doing from, some of you have been in Zambia too long. They were doing about 2 kilometers of drainage. That contract went on for 5 years. Why? Renewal after renewal. It was cash for the boys and girls, for party cadres. It will not happen under this government. Madam Chairperson, I have illustrated the principles that will allow us to rebuild the economy, to protect investments, to bring more investments, to create jobs, to create business opportunities, to be able to fund health, education, and the like. But more importantly, to attract more investment. So we have a zero tolerance policy on corruption. Zero. We have also said that corruption is corruption. Past corruption, present corruption, future corruption will be treated in exactly the same way. Let me share with you something that is important. But back on law and order. We pronounced that there will be no thuggery in the markets, in the bus stops. The PF thugs with guns disappeared. Then I go to New York, Washington, the UN General Assembly. Behind, one of my leaders pronounces that the PF cadres will now UPND cadres will take over markets. And they will provide security. I was aware, my team members failed to put that under control. When I returned, I sent a message that we took out thugs because no one wants violence in those places. No one takes away the widow's opportunity to trade in the market. No one. And I will not allow, before you clap, give me a second. I will not allow UPND members to be the new thugs in town. That's how serious we are about this subject. Now you can clap. Very good. Very good. I think we have made the point. I can go on with the examples, but we are clear in our minds that the change for which we were put in office is here. We have started. There's order in the country. Some lingering old behavior will continue, but we'll nip it in the bud. Some corruption will continue, we'll nip it in the bud. One or two guys will go, as an example. But we are also committed to recover the assets that were stolen. I think those resources are good use, waiting for application. I think so. Madam Chairperson, we're committed as a leadership to walk the talk. We're committed to take the money that belongs to people away from a small clique of thieves in Lusaka to the communities. We have already demonstrated that the first UPND budget ever, area I packed an item that under our constitution, we are still working on the PF budget up to December. Next month, January, we start implementing the UPND budget. If you care about your country, you review the budget we have put in place. For the first time since independence, we've dramatically altered the way the budget is structured. And we are going to take resources away from a clique of thieves in Lusaka to the constituencies. So the constituencies can make decisions on what their priorities for development are at that local level. I don't want to waste your time to talk figures. I think if you care, you've seen the draft figures. And that will significantly mean something different, never seen before. You will see development at a local level. 5 years of our term, I don't really care about 2026. 2026 will take care of itself once we've delivered for them. We care about what we need to do now, given the opportunity the people of Zambia have given us to serve. To be servant leaders. And this is one instrument that we are applying. As we allow the people in the constituencies across the country without discrimination. The discrimination that I told you about, retirement is national interest, all of that. By the way, we've sent a message. I've seen a note from the acting secretary of the cabinet and our instruction that all of those people that were retired in national interest, but it was actually in private interest, will be returned into their position. The note has gone out. But they will be assessed, because some may claim they were retired in national interest when actually they committed something else. So it will not be wholesale, we will evaluate that. So we are on the road to implementing our agenda for the people of Zambia. So devolution is here. We've started with it. Who knows better where a clinic in Porokoso, in a rural area, there needs a maternity wing? Does anyone in Lusaka know that? No. The people in Porokoso know. And they will make that decision. But now we'll support them with a resource envelope. There's a difference. What else? As money goes to local communities, contractors for goods and services first will come from those constituencies. If there's no capacity to the district, to the province, we end there. Again, deliberate, the money will circulate in that constituency, in that district, in that province. So we can decongest Lusaka and Copperbelt in terms of development approach and utilization of resources, scarce resources that are vital. I don't think you heard what I'm saying. Contracts to provide desks in a school, to provide solar, green energy to those local areas, supported in these budgets, will be given to local suppliers. Of course, we are laying on that base monitoring and control, having given the guidelines. I think you've been listening to my speeches. Yeah. And the Auditor General and us had a meeting that now the audit scope will go down there, so they can follow the money to ensure that it's properly utilized. We don't want to move money away from the small clique of thieves in Lusaka and take it to districts and constituencies and generate new thieves there. We are not just about to do that. We're not about to do that. So, Madam Chairperson, these are some of the basic parameters that we're working on, the thrust that we're working on, and we would absolutely pay a blind focus to investment. Bringing Zambians into the mining sector, bringing Zambians in tourism, bringing Zambians. Joint ventures are some things we're going to promote. You will see, once the budget is approved in December, by December, the next things from January, we are working on off-budget items. A lot of them. Taking out bureaucrats, madam, taking out a multiplicity of licenses, making it easy to do business. Why should a title deed take 1 year to be issued? We'll be sitting with the ministries and with the lands officers. Once an application is put in place there, we want the title to be given in a week or 10 days, no more than that. These things, Madam Chairperson, appear small. They are not small. They inhibit economic activity. They delay job creation. We're in a hurry. Education, you've seen what we've done in the budget. You don't have to send your hard-earned money now to pay for your niece who comes from an underprivileged family. No PTA funds, no school fees up to grade 12. Our colleagues who are in opposition now, 3 months ago were in the ruling party, they were laughing at us. Just last week, no, before we announced the budget, they were laughing at us, mocking us. I said, oh, wait for the budget. What is it that you're talking about? They never thought that it was possible. Everything is possible if you know what you're doing. Right? We should not set limits on ourselves on what is possible. We should be ingenious. We are ingenious. We are innovative. Absolutely. So, now, if you can save money, which you are sending for your niece, for school fees, we would like you to accumulate that money and invest home. Yeah. Bring it home. We are setting mechanisms off the budget again, because we needed the relief to put a budget in. I know most of you are complaining that, oh, appointment here. I have priorities in this head. My priority first, I'm serious, my priority first was to get the economic side and the budget put in place. The first minister we appointed was Minister of Finance, alone. People thought that I was being lazy. The time we had, which is constitutional, to present a budget was very limited. So I couldn't work on the tourism sector, work on that. I needed to work on the budget to send a message. And we've sent a message. Now we can populate with, even, I know what you're looking for. One of you may be the ambassador here. We have not forgotten about you, but we needed to get anchors on the economy going. Time is limited. How you utilize it matters. What you do with a day matters. So, we're not saying to you, trust us. You don't have to trust us. Just watch. Just let us work for a short while. You will see on your own. I know your eyes may not see what we see. But in another 6 months, 1 year, you start seeing the difference. We're committed to doing that. Right? There are many things that are doable and do not need us to borrow money from the IMF. I've just given you a few examples. The guys in opposition were saying, we shall see what he's going to do. Bali, he committed too much. I said, I never made any promises to anybody. And the debate went on social media. I said, I never made promises which are excessive. What I committed to the people of Zambia is the barest minimum. How will you run a country where people have not gone to school, have no skills? Which country are you going to run? Which economy are you going to run? Where you are seated here, why do you think the city of London is a leading financial service center?
That's right.
Because there are skills here. And when the skills are not here, they buy the skills. Yeah. So education is important. So how can someone say, oh, HH over promise on education, we shall see how it's going to do it? I say, try ignorance and see what economy you're going to do. Madam Chairperson, I am a living example. I went to school first 3 years without shoes. I first went to Lusaka to go to university on a government bursary. If I didn't get that education, I wouldn't be standing here tonight talking to you as the president. Only one asset I was given, education. You want another example? That's enough. We need education, we need health, we need functioning health. We need to dismantle the debt mountain which our colleagues created in order to fund corruption in roads and fertilizer and others. We're going to do that. This morning we had a meeting with debt stockholders, the Eurobond, and we talked as men and women, sitting on both sides, different sides, but actually share the same problem. We must find a resolution to the debt mountain. If we don't, it doesn't make the debt provider happy, neither does it make us happy. We have a vested interest. That's the way we are approaching development in our country. We talk to each other. We understand what the debt stockholders want. They understand what we want. There has to be a resolution of this impasse. We then reopen the economy and they have a chance to do more business and more investment. But an investment where if they lend to us once we're through with the restructuring of the economy and debt, they'll be paid. We don't want to be defaulters. But the situation left as it is, it favors nobody. As you sit I want to see hands of Zambians in this one. Just if you're a Zambian citizen or resident, let's see your hands. Have you ever imagined what this country would have been if another 5 years of leadership went to the friends that are resting? Have you ever found just 10 minutes to think about it? Everything was going high. How do you destroy an economy growing at close to 7%? You damage everything. Exactly. I invite those who are supporting PF that you are free, you exercise your democratic right. But I invite you to work with us going forward to rebuild this country. We have no ill feelings at all because that's your constitutional right. But now that you know what was obtaining and what we put on the table, let's work together. Yeah. There was a small issue here which I passed on to colleagues, Madam Chair, that there was a selective approach to inviting people to come to this meeting. I immediately sent a note. Wait first. I sent a note. I said, everybody's welcome here. Everybody, anyone is welcome here. Citizens of Zambia, it doesn't matter where your allegiance was. It's gone. The election is over. Now we want to rebuild together. Even as a resident, as a friend of Zambia, you are free to come here because we want to learn from you as well. So we can run the party. Madam Chairperson, there are things I would have said, but I choose to close by saying we have a rare opportunity to take our country to where it should be. We have a rare opportunity for our country to re-enter the League of Civilized Nations. For once, when I was a student here, doing my master's in Birmingham, Brown we call it, we were proud to have gone through an undergraduate system in Zambia because we were no inferior to any other master's student. Yes. But today, look at the quality of education at home, right? But we have an opportunity to reconstruct our country for the benefit of all, without exclusions, which we saw in the last 10 years. Divisions, marginalization. We're looking for your views, your advice, your counsel, your criticism, by the way. I'm one guy who invites people, Madam Chair, to criticize us. But when you choose to criticize us, do your homework. Yes. Come with facts. Come with facts, come with possible solutions. We'll take them on board. It's your country. We're just your servants for now. Only for now. But once we're through with this country, they've raised the bar for the presidents, for the government. Because for too long, we got used to low levels of delivery. And we thought that was normal. So come with your advice, counsel. You are very well placed here. This city, this country offers a lot. Help us. Give us suggestions. Give us alternative ways of looking at things. Better ways, obviously. And we are amenable to your advice, to your counsel. My team is here tonight, some of them. You want to pursue some of these issues? Take their numbers. Let's talk to each other. Let's work together. Madam Chairperson, I thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for such a comprehensive.
Check I'm responsible.
I'm overwhelmed. It's a template, I'm sure all of you will agree with me, that should be used everywhere. Win the election, protect your vote, and deliver to the people. Unifying the country and also having an economic agenda that is well thought through. Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. You've given us such a compelling roadmap with delivery that you've had in a little under 3 months. I know that that your schedule is busy.
I'll stay longer.
Thank you. You knew I was going to negotiate that with you. Yeah, so.
Did you want me?
I did. I wanted to just say, so that I know that there are probably a lot of comments, questions that people want to raise. So what I will do, because I think we were supposed to have a conversation with my own questions, but I think I'll reverse it. Okay. Because you addressed many of the issues that we had gotten a sense that people wanted to hear about. What is your agenda for the people? What are you doing on corruption? How are you going to manage the issues around debt? And I will leave my last question to you around COP26 at the end. So that particularly for my Zambian brothers and sisters who are here, so they can have a chance to make comments and ask questions. We're already past time, thanks to the President, His Excellency. He's given us a little bit more time. So what I would like is to have people who want to ask questions or make comments. I want to lay down the rules first, and it may just be faster. I don't know if it's appropriate, but forgive me, people just kind of just queue up in front so that we can just do it one after the other. But the one question per person or one comment, and we'll take a series at a time, and then we'll go for the next. But please introduce yourself and your affiliation. I know there's a lot of people, so I'm going to have you people just queue up in front here. Yes, I'm sorry. And ladies first. No, just one lady first. And if we've got a microphone, oh my God, everybody's coming out. So the queue is closed for the time being, and we'll start again. So please go ahead, madam. One comment or one question per person. I'm sorry, we can all sit. We don't have to all queue. I didn't know there were going to be so many takers. So please, it's okay. Go ahead, madam, please, so that we can. Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Excellency. It's a pleasure and honor to see you. My name is Cynthia Mulayantanda Obanako-Williams. My name is Cynthia Mulayantanda Obanako-Williams. I'm Deputy Director of Zambians Together for fundraising. I'm also a chemotherapy nurse in London. I affiliate with the Zambia Cancer Society as well. So my question, I had a few, but my most important question is there a plan in place for a new cancer hospital in Lusaka? We seem to be inundated with people coming across the whole of Zambia and rushing to CDU in Lusaka? And also, is there a possibility of subsidizing pediatric cancer drugs, please? That's my question. Thank you.
So that's a good example. So you introduce yourself very quickly. Next person, please hand over the mic.
Good evening, Your Excellency. My name is Hakainde Hichilema. I'm actually your neighbor in Lusaka West, and you've seen me grow. So I come from the organization which is Zambians Together. I'm actually co-chair. I also work for Electricity de France, and my interest is more professional from the following COP26 where you've just come from, and climate change and the like. At the local level, as a government, seeing that you've probably traveled with the Minister of Green Economy, which is a great ministry that you've set up, what, in terms of plans do you have to try and integrate local actions? Because there's a lot of charcoal, cutting of trees, that happens within the country, because that's a source of revenue for people who are engaged to that. At local level, what kind of action points do you intend to put in place,
Thank you.
seeing that you've come from COP26.
Thank you. Next person.
My name is Chisala Chiyungi, and I'm based here at Bedford, and I'm Volvo car industry, so I'm in the motor industry. My question... Chisala.
Chisala.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
My question is based on how sustainability Zambia is focusing, especially to copper production, because the next thing around the world will be electric cars, and electric cars we're going to have with copper components, especially how Zambia prepared in this stage to add value to copper production. Also remembering that they have to look at how sustainable that production will be. I say this because if you go back to Usakile, we've got smelter mines in Usakile. When they release those gases, they affect many lives. But what technology are you going to implement in Zambia?
I was just going to say, sir, and the president reminded me, one question or one comment per person so that we can have maybe...
I was just trying to summarize up why my question is there.
We understand. Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, you understand your sister.
Why did you summarize the question?
Next person, yes, thank you.
Your Excellency, congratulations. My name is Dr. John Lukomona. I'm Dr. John Lukomona.
Right.
I'm an investor, a Zambian investor, 15 years in the industry, chairman of Amakaya Wingi, and chancellor of the Lukomona John University and the Western Open College. I want to express interest to invest in Zambia, in the water sector and the energy sector, and I have resources behind me with my team. So, Your Excellency, I would like to know how we can collaborate with the people that you come with so that we can see this area. And just want to say, Your Excellency, I've got a gift for you. Every Zambian is a millionaire. I wrote that book 2010. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next person behind it.
Up to you. Up to you. I'm taking notes. Up to you.
Yes, madam.
Good evening, Mr. President. My name is Mutumba Amsa Nelson, and I would like to congratulate you and your entire government on your victory, and also on a fantastic budget. I took time to listen to it. I did that twice. I can guarantee you that it has added more zeros to a certain Sean T. My question is, the CDF funding has been increased from 1.6 million to 25.7 million. Thank you very much. I think that's fantastic. And what I would like to know is, how will your government ensure equity? Because some of that funding is going to constituencies that were much more neglected in the last 10 years. So how do we ensure equity? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. My name is Dr. Henry Mumbi, and my play is that most of Zambians acquired other citizenships, either it's UK or any other European country. My plea, Your Excellency, is that could your government give amnesty for those citizens who acquired foreign citizenship before 2016? Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Good question.
Good evening, Your Excellency. My name is Hilda Mulenga. I'm the Deputy Chairperson of the Association of Zambian Nurses here in the UK. My question is it possible for us to remove the bed stayers, you know, the relatives that come to look after the patients on the wards, and could we replace them in the meantime with the healthcare assistants, and with the assistance of us, the nurses here in the UK, we can help moderate, train, and have these healthcare assistants assist the nurses on the wards in Zambia. I do empathize with the nurses Thank you.
Thank you. You have to forgive me, Mr. President.
Yes.
I know that you are able to cover several areas, but I think it'll be good if we pause and hear from you, and then take the next set of questions.
I do it here or there?
Whichever one. If you're wearing your mic, it's fine. Here.
All right.
Yes.
I just want to see people.
Okay.
Yeah. So, right, thanks. If that's okay with you?
It is okay, sir.
Right.
Thank you.
Cynthia, plan for another cancer hospital. That's a point well made. I think in the beginning, I was sort of rushing through things that health service delivery is one of the barest minimums in my view. I mean, the hospitals, before you talk of cancer hospital, there's just been no medicines. First line medicines, basic. So we are addressing that, and that includes specialized facilities. So I think your question is in the right place. It's part of the program. I want to go further by saying what the coronavirus has done to us in the world, not in Zambia only, and I must have talked about it, but I have a couple of things to say that we have relaunched the coronavirus, fight, so we can bring this pandemic under control, so we can have a chance to reconstruct the economy. We don't manage this pandemic, we will not reconstruct the economy. You can see here now people go to stadiums without masks because there's been massive vaccination. I think you are aware of what we've done. We're mobilizing more resources to bring vaccine. And we've told the West, if you think you are safe and you keep the vaccines to yourself, we will be the host for mutants which will bite you soon. So let us work together. So now, what am I saying? What the coronavirus has done is to tell us, especially on our continent, back home, that the days of politicians, so-called privileged people, flying all over the world to seek medical attention are over. We must develop local capacity, health services capacity. That includes what you've raised, madam, wherever she is. Where is Cindy? You are there. Thank you, madam. That includes us bringing first-class medical services capabilities within our countries. If you look at the money we've been spending on flying patients, accommodation, before you even get to see a doctor, it's too much money. This government is looking at bringing the best health services, capabilities within our country, including cancer. Thank you very much. Right. Mpande, my neighbor, truly.
Yes, sir.
This young man has grown. He was a tiny young man a few days ago. Yeah. His father is actually Chief Mpande. Yes, you don't know. Dr. Mpande, who is a friend of mine. He was a lecturer when I was a student. His father was a lecturer at Wuza when I was a student. Yeah. Now, COP26, local action. Pandi, part of COP26, part of what is integral to the climate change fight is what they call nationally determined action programs. So we as a country have already made commitments as to what we will be doing at the national level using our own resources. I hope this thing is working. You can hear me? Yes. Our own resources as a nation, like other nations are required to do. So we've made those commitments clear at COP26, more so now. But also, those actions are not enough. We have discussed and agreed that the days when we are debating whether climate change was an issue or not are over. We all know now that this is a risk to humanity, to the globe, to our generation. And we must work together at the national levels, but internationally. It's also agreed that it's the first world that has polluted our environment more than all of us. But we're not pointing fingers. We have to work together. So part of what is being discussed, we've left a team of negotiators, that's what they've been called, in Glasgow, to agree specific actions, in addition to national actions, but global actions, and also provide the funding to support those actions, so we can get our temperature, give our temperature to under 1.5 degrees centigrade. Those are the targets that have been set. So I want to say to your question, yes, there's a specific problem. Mind you, the first time in the history of our country, we recognize global issues, challenging issues. We have dedicated a Ministry of Green Economy and Environment. That tells you that this government is up to speed with issues that are different but are important. We've done the same on the SMEs, dedicated Ministry of Small, Medium Enterprises. These will be combined to deliver. I'll be quicker on the other questions. Chisala, Zambia's preparedness for the electric cars industry. Look, I talked about the mining sector. Part of the reason I picked that sector and illustrated our approach to that sector, to stabilizing the environment, making it competitive, is to basically take advantage of this opportunity. As we missed the boat, I shouldn't use the word boat. As we missed the opportunity at independence, and the years later, when Botswana, which was a poor country, I'm sorry if there's a Botswana here. Is there a Botswana here? Dumeraman. Right? Botswana used diamonds, one commodity, to change a lot of the Botswanas. We missed that opportunity. This is yet another opportunity, Tisa, that we do not want to miss, to use the revolution around green energy and electric cars. We have the copper, we have the lithium. Geologists will tell you that lithium is no different from tantalite. We have these minerals, but this government want to work in a smart way to take advantage of what we failed to do in the 70s and 80s, as Botswana did it, to improve the living standards of the Tswana people out of diamonds only. As a student, I was already an entrepreneur myself. During holidays, I would go to Botswana to buy stock margarine, to buy a few things as a child from the village, and sell when campus opens, earn a bit of money. There was nothing in Botswana, it was dust. Look what it is today. Leadership. So we want to provide leadership around this opportunity so that we can improve the lot of our people. The answer to your question is yes. We are conscious of what we're doing. In New York, I had a meeting with President Tshisekedi of Congo. We talked how we two countries should work together to maximize on God's gift endowment to us, copper, cobalt, and all those minerals, better than we have done before. Thank you. John Lukomana. Did I get your name right?
Yes, sir.
Lukomona. Very good. Has the interest to invest in, you have interest to invest in the water sector, you're welcome. You're welcome. Absolutely welcome. Take note, it's not a joke. Meet one of my colleagues, they're here, take your number, tell us what you want us to do for you, with you, to actualize that opportunity. I'm not really sure what sort of water investment you want to make. Bottled water, or you want to purify water, bulk supply, I don't know, but we'll get into those details. But you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. This State House, you see, this fellow talking to you now is, I said to you when we were campaigning that I'll be the chief salesman for Zambia. I'll be the chief investment officer for Zambia. I will be your toll abroad. This State House will not allow investment proposals sitting for 1, 2, 3, 4 months without being actioned. It will not happen. And we will work with you, we will hand-hold together to see you putting the money, and we will remove the blockers. Remember, I touched on bureaucracy, licenses, delays, you go to this place, no tomorrow, come tomorrow. Come on. So we will deal with those issues. Henry Mumbi, Zambians dual citizenship, what do you want? Tell me, please be succinct. What do you want?
An amnesty, because some of us maybe broke the law by acquiring another citizenship before the law was introduced. So, sir, can you give us an amnesty so we can be Zambians again?
Right. I now understand what you were saying. I thought you were having problems to the dual citizenship. So you did something else. I understand you now. Okay, we'll take note. My team will take note. We'll look at the legalities. What was the intent? The intent was to allow Zambians to have dual citizenship. But if there was some breach of some kind, I really can't be definitive now. All I promise is that we'll look into that matter.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hilda Mlenga. Madam, let us replace family bed cares, right? Bedside. People who are on the bedside, isn't it? With health workers. Have you followed the budget? Have you followed the budget, Hilda? Right. This 2022, between the combination of teachers who graduated and were not employed and health workers, will employ over 40,000. 40,000. Partially is to address that issue.
Yes.
The doctor-nurse patient ratio is horrible. The general care in hospitals is horrible. You even get scared to go to hospital in case you acquire another disease. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's serious. All of those things will be addressed. One of the things we're going to do is this devolution we've talked about. Just the basic cleanliness in the hospitals, in the clinics, will be now moved to local capacities, local institutions, closer to the clinic. That's one of the things we're going to do. The employment of nurses, employment of teachers, we're also taking it to the local level. But we're doing a lot more things around there that I won't waste telling you about because time is not with us. But I'm grateful you raised that matter. We are with you. It's unacceptable. Some patients die because there's no immediate attention. And there's no way a family member can know how to deal with a situation which requires immediate attention. So it means we have been killing people as governments. Literally, I'm being blunt here, right? By failing to provide the basic service, the basic attention to a patient who, if they're gasping, what do you do to them? The family member doesn't know. So it's like failing to provide first aid at an accident scene. But this is not an accident scene. This is a situation where we know there's a patient here and there must be basic minimum. By the way, one of the minefields of corruption in our country has been in the health sector, where a lot of money, including COVID money, was being stolen. We're putting our foot down on this. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. President, I'm embarrassed. I've learned a lesson and I'm embarrassed because when I asked for people to queue up, I didn't expect so many people. And there are also people who are not on the queue who are still sitting. So I know that even if we spent another 2 days here, then I may not be able to allow everybody to ask their question. So, and I've been negotiating with your team because you actually have another engagement after this. So I know that you would like to spend more time with us. So I want to ask for forgiveness, particularly for those on the queue. I will take 3 more questions. I will offer to have all of the other questions be sent to the Royal Africa Society email. And it's a very simple email. It's ras@soas.ac.uk. And for everybody who we have on our register, if you have an email, we will also send you an email if we have your email. So I want to apologize. Next time I will not, after such an inspiring leader, I will not ask for people to come up. Because everybody wants to ask a question. So I take full responsibility. And Mr. President is being generous. And you know, one of the things he told us was that he valued diversity. So he says I can increase the number to 6, 3 women, 3 men. So please, the microphone. And let's just respect this new rules. Remember, he is a rule of law person as well. Please, thank you.
So let's do a count. First 3 men, and then in that queue, no segregation, the first 3 women.
Okay.
One question was then asked by Mr. President. This lady asked about CDF funds.
Oh, I see.
Okay, that's true. I forgot that. Yes,
okay.
the 1.6 million to 25 million. So he'll add it to the others. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much indeed, Chair. His Excellency, it's a pleasure really to welcome you to London. And from the early years when we were working together, and then to see you now at the helm, it makes me so proud. I even cried the day when you were actually Sonia. And it reminded me a lot of the work which we put in the early years. Of course, I came back, I became an academic. You continued working in that same effort, which is extremely good, and I'm glad to say thank you for that perseverance. Now, my question simply is that...
although you didn't tell all of us others your name and what you're doing. Yes, if you can do that quickly, and then your comment or question.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I do apologize. My name is Professor Clive Chirwa, and yes, I'm an academic. I'm an academic, as well as I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a consultant, and I design things which work.
Yes.
Yeah. So, my interest really is in terms of how we're going to make sure that we capitalize on the single resource which we have perhaps the most, which is copper. And as you know, I'm planning to put up a plant in Kapirimposhi, which is for electric vehicles. 2 years ago, I brought my design, the vehicles which are designed under the brand name of Oviv, and which I presented to the Zambian people. They are there, people in Lusaka can see them. I mean, they've been seeing them. They are on the roads in Zambia. They are on the roads in Ghana and Kenya, where we got the market. And therefore, what I want to do now, I want to move to electric vehicles, as I promised the MP at that particular time of Kapirimposhi.
He's here.
Yes, I've seen him. He's there.
Oh, there he is.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So,
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to withdraw the 6th person because you're representing 2 people. So please help me and conclude so I can...
I'm concluding now.
Thank you, sir.
And on that particular thing, I would like to say congratulations. It has been a long road. Your Excellency, I know you achieved everything which you want to do because that is the way you planned yourself to deliver.
Amen.
And of course, that is one of the things that you're going to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor.
087, welcome to the United Kingdom. My name is Linda Banks from TV Bakwetu, and I'm a lecturer here in the United Kingdom. And I also sit on the board of directors for Linda Banks. Yeah. And I also sit on the board of directors for independent schools in the Southeast. And my passion, as you can clearly tell, is education. And I've been so thrilled, me and my TV panelists, they're so excited about the budget. We dissected it and looked for faults. We couldn't find any. We're still sort of dissecting the budget, but it's an amazing piece of kit that you've come up with. Now, my question is, what do you plan for the cadres, the young people, especially that they don't have access to the markets where they used to make a few quid? What specific things do you have in the short term for them as a source of income?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next person. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President. My name is Grace Sistulo. I am a nurse, an entrepreneur, and an investor. I also belong to Amakaya Wingi here in UK. My question is on a CDF being taken to constituency level, which is very good. And my question is on the quality of staff, especially when it comes to construction, building products, and the desks which will be made. Do we have a body in place which will be checking the quality of the staff? Because at the moment, I think most of the construction staff is compromising. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam. I need to consult with the President's team because he's late for another event, so. But please go ahead, Madam. Sorry, is that, you're the third woman?
Yes.
And so I have two more men, and Mr. President, can I take advantage and ask that we have the youth also? So how many youth?
We have 2 youth over there.
Okay, so 2. So she's a good negotiator. She just added 2 more. Go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. President. So my name is Chibwe Masabo Henry, and I am the Policy and Advocacy Director for Zambians Together. I also work for Comic Relief as a grant maker, as a portfolio manager for FCDO, and I've been an advocate for Zambian diaspora engagement with the government for years. So looking at your manifesto, it's kind of concerning that when you mention diaspora, you only have 2 elements. One is one is on how you'll be recruiting for the High Commission, which is welcome. But the second one is the well, it's a kind of a counter
some area that she's interested in.
Yeah,
So
so
one
there's
is
2
recruiting for
elements.
the High Commission, and what's the other?
Yeah,
area?
so my interest actually is in the second part, which is in the establishment of the investment platform, which for us is kind of limited in scope because it only addresses the investment focus, which you've talked about and is amazing, but actually that's not quite inclusive for a lot of diaspora because you have to be at a certain level to be able to come and talk about investment. But as diaspora, our skills are beyond just financial, and we can transfer skills, we can do other things and bring our expertise or share or collaborate, and would like to push and see as Zambians Together a relational, not just transactional, but a relational diaspora engagement with the government. So my question is, what is your government's intention for the policy that was done and is just about to be reviewed? So we don't know whether we're going to be shafted again and we have to start again, because we sort of halfway through this policy and we don't see it reflected in your manifesto. And we would definitely like to be considered as the 11th province of Zambia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No, because we don't have enough time, I would suggest, Mr. President, you'll respond to it, but you had also said that there's a team. Send an email, we will respond more fully, but Mr. President, please, sir.
Good evening, Your Excellency. My name is Traiwe Ogariata. I am Director of Anglo-Zambia Development. We are currently based in Mukuni Nsongwe village. It's not a question from me. Your Excellency, we just want to say that as Anglo-Zambia Development, we've started complementing your government by putting in place a new university which is going to be in honor of Chief Mukuni. I think the first phase has reached roof level and it's 400 capacity. In addition to that, I've got about 20 delegates that will be coming with me to Zambia. These are the investors from the UK. They're going to put up a bursary fund to accommodate intelligent young people who can't afford economically exorbitant fees to access affordable tertiary education in the rural outskirts. Your Excellency, I was pleased to see my mentor, Professor Clive Chirwa, who took me into the journey of forensics. You may not be aware, I was a pioneer of structurally, academically designed forensic programs for investigative wings. Sadly, along the way, something went wrong, but we want to assure you that under this leadership, we are going to continue with that program. Your Excellency, the other thing that I want to mention this evening is I'm aware that you have within your framework private partnership arrangement, but I would like to know on behalf of my partners whether there is a framework for match funding from the private and individuals to help government in its projects. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Excellency, my name is Raymond Pelakamoyo. I've got a quick question to you, and it's regarding the healthcare sector in Zambia. But first of all, allow me to introduce myself. I'm the co-founder of Impact Hub in Lusaka, and also the co-founder of Nathondo Fund venture capital firm in Zambia. So we work with bringing big companies like Airbus, BMW to educate young people in Zambia, as well as give grants to entrepreneurs. However, I gave myself a task of training 5,000 healthcare workers in Zambia, and I formed strategic partnerships with Princess Trust and the Home Office. I'm aiming to train over 5,000 people in the UK. So my question is, Mr. President, will your government support us in training English to Zambian health workers and nurses to help them come to the UK? Because I've raised the funds to give them housing, to give them work. I just need you to teach them English.
Thank you. Sorry, I think the lady behind it looks more like a youth. Sorry? Okay. The president wants to make sure that that what we heard was correct. That the deal is that to the youth who spoke, that you'll provide every part of this deal, and what you're looking for is teaching English. Sorry, £150,000. Okay. So what I suggest is that email address that I gave, ras@soas.ac.uk. Please, that's a kind of one that I would like to be able to share with the team so that they can follow up with you to understand what you're offering and to understand what is required, is what I would suggest. Sorry, is it an adult, youth?
It's a quick thing. So my name is Moisala.
But you know the president is saying that we now have rule of law. So you're disobeying the rules, but
I said two youth. That's what they said.
I think she's the youth.
One youth.
So she's not going to speak.
No, she is going to speak.
Oh, she is. Okay, please go ahead. The president says I can let you go ahead.
Good evening, Your Excellency. My name is Moisala Lusengo. Moisala Lusengo. The one thing I'm passionate about is mental health. So mental health has no respect. It can come to anybody, whether the queen, be it a president, be it a rich man's child. All these people can go and seek medical attention elsewhere. Some kid in Zambia would have drug-induced psychosis, will be taken to South Africa. But if a poor person has mental health, what are we doing? What are we doing as the new government for people with mental health problems? How are we going to help them? People, because most people can help themselves, but they can't. We need those voice for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Please go ahead. Yes.
Good evening, Mr. President. My name is Noktula Hatongo. My main question in regards to the technology sector in Zambia and what opportunities are there for Zambians in the diaspora like myself who are currently actually investing in Zambians and educating them and giving them the skill set in technology. So myself and some of my team here, we actually run an initiative called the Nakatik Academy, where we're currently training 300 Zambians in the diaspora, 70 of them being in Zambia, how to code, how to software engineer, digital marketing, skill sets that are needed for where the world is currently going. We've been self-funded so far since 2019. We spent over 40,000 in providing Wi-Fi routers, equipment that these students and young people need in order to equip themselves with the technology expertise that is needed. I know that one of your CDF fund focal points was education and skills, and in opening the new Ministry of Technology, I want to know what opportunities are there for an initiative like ours in pushing it more forward in Zambia and educating the young people and offering them opportunities. So we actually currently have 30 of them that have graduated from our academy who are now employed by consultancies here in the UK. They're working remotely from Zambia, but they're being paid and they're actually being able to increase employability.
Thank you.
Good evening, Excellency. Chawala Chimpapa from your Facebook constituency. Chawala Chimpapa.
Don't break your hand.
Your Excellency, I'm a passionate Zambian, and I just wanted to find out what policies does your government have to encourage us to come back home? Thank you.
I feel like I'm encouraging bad behavior, and the women seem to normally do better than the men. And today, I think it's because of the women are sitting up front with the president. So you all decide. So, Madam, we promise as the Royal Africa Society that all of the questions that have not been asked, that if you send it to ras@soas.ac.uk, that we will make sure that it's made available to the President and his team to respond. So please forgive me, because otherwise I'm dishonoring all the others who accepted to go back to their seats. So please forgive me, Mr. President.
Madam Chair, thank you very much, and colleagues, thank you very much. Obviously, time is always not available for us to do everything we want. Madam Mutumba, I apologize that I didn't take your question on CDF. I think your question was that where is the equitous treatment here? Because we've allocated the same amount of CDF to all constituencies, yet in the past, there were constituencies or regions that were discriminated against. Am I right? Yeah. Right. Please take a seat. We actually considered that issue of equitous treatment because there was inequity. I did talk about it tonight. Clear inequity, clear divisive behavior by the previous government. If you were a favored citizen, you didn't see it, but a lot of citizens saw it. And that's why there was change anyway. Change was inevitable because the segregation was beyond sensibleness. It was actually something else. Now, we did take that into account, but to find a formula that will level constituencies in implementing the new enhanced CDF was a bit complicated. And it was bordering on us perpetuating the segregation that was there before. Imperfect as it sounds, we took the decision that, like we've done that we will not retribute, we will not arrest people because they arrested us, then we are no different from them. We took the decision that we will be applying CDF in an equal manner across the country. So we can also shame those that were so segregated, yet they were using public resources as though they were their own personal resources. You know, one of our languages says, yes, that is true. But we do not want to go that way. Questions came, I must now tell you, in the cabinet meeting around what you've said. But we took a conscious decision to depart from that behavior, which was extremely, something else. I ended. But equity is important. Equitable treatment is important. But we proceed that way for now, so we can redress the injustices of the past by not creating new injustices in the minds of people. Human beings are very complicated. They have already forgotten. In the fight against corruption, we said we will not be vindictive, the president's hand will not be involved, and we'll leave it to the institutions. A few processes are embarked on, and people are crying tribalism. Who is the tribalism there? Honestly speaking, I mean, you Zambians, we must come off certain things. I'm honest with you. If somebody stole public resources, how does that help a particular tribe? Because that person comes from a particular tribe. Unless you say the money, stolen money was being shared on an ethnic basis. I don't think so. So we were conscious of that. And I almost predicted what will happen. And it's already beginning to happen. But we will be determined to recover assets irrespective of who was involved. And where they come from is not an issue. You took public resources, and we are able to access those resources, we will recover them. That's a promise. Prof, thank you very much for your compliment, sir. Thank you very much. Your electric cars are welcome. You were ahead of time. It happens in the world. People are ahead of time. And then you get ridiculed, you get... I remember that debate when you raised it at home about electric cars and stuff like that. Yeah, sometimes people don't see what others see until the eyes can see it. But vision means you see where the eyes can't see. So you're not the only ones to suffer that. I actually think I was ahead of time myself. And it took a long time for citizens to accept that there's a better way of running a country. But we are here to prove that there's a better way of running the country. We work together, we'll do it. But you're welcome. Come, bring the investments, Prof. Linda, Madam Linda, plans for cadres. How can we help cadres? You indicated that cadres have been taken out of the market. Let me just contextualize that. We have not taken cadres out of the market. What we have said is that anyone is free to trade in the market. Anyone. What had happened was that PF cadres had driven out anyone who was not PF from the markets, from the bus stops, from any public place, and then they were extorting money from. That's what we've stopped. Two things: to drive citizens out of trading places by a political party, group of people. No. No. Two, violence in public places. No. But trading in the markets, everybody's welcome. Let's get that right. Everybody's welcome. But income generating opportunities will be a lot more than having to beat people in the market and women, and dressing women in the market and extorting money. There will be more dignified ways of earning income under this government than ever before. The first is really this CDF thing. And we've said that the youth and the women will be favored in the issuance of contracts to supply goods and services and works, and around this funding, deliberate to create opportunities for the youth and the women. Also, under the SME ministry, we are targeting youth and women for opportunities. Please follow these steps. Take a piece of paper and start marking the script, what we were saying and what we are doing. Already we've started doing things that we said we'll be doing. So the women and the youth are an important constituency in our country. Remember, the age profile of our population is that the majority are young. And we have to work and create opportunities for them. So you will see a lot of that. There's another area that we are going to legislate, and we have no shame about it, that jobs will favor Zambian and Zambian citizens, if you like. There's no question about it. Every country imports specialized skills, but basic skills like driving a crane, driving a tractor on an open pit mine, those jobs have to go to the Zambian people. It's only normal. It's only fair. But I come from a business background myself. I know that every country has to import certain specialist skills that will allow the business to succeed and create a lot more Zambian jobs. So you will see that in the work permits, we'll be allowing specialist skills to come into our country. As Silicon Valley imports skills from India. I'm talking about America, importing skills from India. It is normal. It shall be normal in Zambia to do that. But let's not confuse that to mean we are not looking out for Zambians. We are looking out for Zambians, but Zambians must also be competitive. They must deliver.
Yep.
Remember what I said, you can't share poverty. Even though you love them, you love each other. If you can't deliver, someone else will come and do the job. Because then they'll create them. It's simple. I think we must be objective about it. But even amongst Zambians, we will allow competition.
Yes.
Amongst Zambians. Sorry for those who don't understand Nyanji. Somebody next door to you can interpret. So, Madam Linda, we have a lot for the youth, a lot. Except citizens are impatient, and I understand why they're impatient. Because they've suffered for so many years. It actually feels like we've been in office for 6 months, yet we've only been in office 2 months and 10 days. Only. But we love the anxiety. It means Zambians are attentive now. Because I think they sat on PF and gave PF too much leverage for too long. And we appreciate what the interest is all about. I think it's a scorecard in our favor. Grace, CDF, quality of products, desks. Now, what we're doing, Madam Grace, where's Grace? Thank you. Please take a seat. We are setting guidelines on the utilization of CDF. Setting guidelines, health, education infrastructure, not mega infrastructure, because the mega infrastructure will remain in the national budget. But levels, acceptable levels, and we're working on all of those issues. Plus the normal quality requirements. Remember I said all procurement of goods and services and works will follow 1, right price, 2, quality, 3, deliver on time. That will apply even on CDA. I hope I've made my point clear. Madam Chiwe. Madam Chiwe, investment platforms should be considered as the 11th province. That's what I got, because I was trying to figure out what you were saying earlier on. Yeah, look, we have not departed from our view that Zambians, wherever you are vitally important to the economic reconstruction journey. You are very important. I said this to colleagues in Washington, D.C. just a month or so ago. We have not changed a bit that you are the 11th province. But come forward. Come forward. Issues of land. I touched on it a little bit. But we must make land accessible to you here and others. But you have to express that you want it. How will we know that you want it? Maybe you've decided to invest here and just come and visit us home. But make your desires known and we'll facilitate. We'll facilitate. Selfishly, we need you to invest home. Even if it's just owning a property. It means you'll have earned the money here and spent it home. By the way, remember, you are in a privileged position. You sit in today I was listening to I think the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Interest rates. I was in the car and I was hearing the news that interest rates will not be increased, isn't it? So I asked the guy who was driving the car, I said, so what is the interest rate? What do people borrow at? 4 or 5%. What do you borrow at here? Tell me. 3%. Now, you have not understood the opportunities you have here. Access resources from a market with a fairer interest rate. Back home, my friend, you have to pay 30%. We are working on bringing interest rates down, inflation down, exchange rate stable. These variables are interrelated. But here, you can access the capital at a fair price, called interest rate, and invest. With our coming into office now, the yields will get better back home. So see an opportunity there. I hope I'm talking to somebody. That's what evangelicals will say. Am I talking to somebody? Right. So, madam, you will never be forgotten. Never. Let's just engage. Let's understand what your priorities are. Countries like Egypt, like India, they send their people out of their countries for a purpose, even facilitate. China has started doing that now. In return, their home countries benefit. Can you do the same? I know you've been doing it. We want you to do more. We'll encourage you to do more. Unless you have an organization here, isn't it? You're organized. Where's Amanda? She's not here. Right. And you've been, thank you, Amanda. You've been talking of also an association or something like that. Most of you are saying you belong to
Zambians Together.
Zambia Together. Get a bit organized. Begin to work as a team to send a checklist of things that you want your government to do for you, with you.
Yes.
That way, we can have an action program to address your issues. This government, please, don't take this as a joke. This government will do things differently but better. Yes. You will be given attention. Very soon as we settle down, I told you we wanted to spend time putting the budget together. Now the budget is together, it's being debated. January, we begin issues on off-budget activities. I just mentioned a few earlier. This includes searching and working with you how we can deliver value with your involvement. So get your association, get your teams working, engage us. We are here to work for you. I know what to do to work for myself. I know, I'm sure you know I know. But I'm here to work for the people, to work for you. You're putting up a university, thank you, sir, in Songwe. I know that place. Thank you very much. You also tagged the question that is there a modality on how citizens that wish to contribute to support this government in projects and different activities can work on? Again, there's nothing standard. If there was any, and there will be one, we'll share with you. But what we've said is enough to say, come and do what you wish to do in your country. How did you build a private university? You took the initiative, isn't it? Anything else you want, take the initiative. Tell us what you want your government to do for you. Within our remit, we'll do it. We want you not to do things just based on your capacity. Try it. Network. My years in business, just watch how we're moving. I'm utilizing the network of my years in school here, my years in business. I'm leveraging on that. I want all of you to do the same. I want all of you to do the same. Here, you sit with a community that you have not tapped into. Ex-copper belt, mining sector, European stock, British stock, who in the 50s, in the 60s, their fathers, their uncles worked on the mining sector. A lot of them have become very successful in this economy in South Africa. Let's tap into those as well, because they have some sort of soft heart for Zambia. They do. So tap into those. I'm encouraging you to go beyond your own abilities, your own capacities. Tap into those. Network. The world is about networking. It is, truly. The way we won the election under hardships, I want to tell you that if I was charging for the advice I'm giving you, I would have made so much money. There's so many countries asking for how we did it. I think it's okay, it's fair. But sometimes circumstances are slightly different, isn't it? But the threads could be the same. Please, I invite you to network. Some of you have been here for a long time. Network with the Nigerians. Network with... Yes. You are laughing, Well, let me contextualize it. Dangote is in Zambia, isn't it? I know two young ladies that worked for Dangote in Nigeria who encouraged him to come and invest in Zambia. Access Bank is in Zambia. Yes. Am I right? Yes. I know one person who encouraged Access Bank to come into Zambia. They've just done a transaction now to buy out Atlas Mara. Atlas Mara. Yeah, just now, last week. The world has changed. Encourage the British. My team is here. I had a closed-door meeting with some sections of the British industry, including, remember, I was at the House of Commons and Lords yesterday. I made a presentation there. And I said, we share an umbilical cord with the British. Colonial history, the English language, it's no longer belonging to English people. It's ours as well now. Right? The business systems, the governance systems. And frankly speaking, the British are at an advantage investing in Zambia. So for me, for you, you live here, encourage the British business houses. They left a gap. We were talking about a bank I was chairman of as a young guy, 32 years old. I was chairman of Barclays Bank in Zambia. They exit. Now they're out of, that's that Brexit thing means that they are looking for new partners. With hindsight, they should have not exited Zambia. CDC, we had a meeting with them. Very honest, frank meeting, reaching out to each other, networking with them, and we're talking good things. So many other businesses. After flying to Zambia for 60 plus years, British Airways pulled out. Then they gave room to Emirates, they gave room to other, but it was circumstantial then. But you here, you have friends who are British. Reach out to them. I'm doing my stint now. I told you I'm the chief salesman. Honestly, it's a competitive world. Destinations for investments are many. I hope you've gotten my message. So, we're trying, bring more, my brother, more than the university, right? Raymond Pelekamoy, teaching of English. What I suggest we do, Raymond, log in with my team here so we are succinct, so we are specific exactly what sort of intervention you need from us. We appreciate the support you've been rendering to Zambians in the diaspora. And what do you want your government to do? Be specific. If it's within our remit, it shall be done. If it's not in our remit, we'll discuss how we can close that gap. We're open to advice. We're open to suggestions. Please remember, this government is there to work for you, to serve you. We will never be masters of our citizens, our voters. It's a paradigm shift. I know you're not used to that. Get used to it. Ask us to do things for you. Madam Lusengo, I got your name right. Mental health patients, how will the government help? What are we doing? First and foremost, I don't know when you left Zambia. There are mental health patient hospitals. Chainama is one of them.